If you want to get better at FC24, come join the Neil Guides FC School Patreon series. If you don't get better after 1 month, we'll refund your money. That's the Neil Guides guarantee. Link is down below in the description. Check it out. What's going on, boys? Neil Guides here. Welcome back to the video. 4411 is kind of blowing up right now. Everyone wants to use it. In fact, if you're an old viewer of mine, it's a real test. FIFA 19, one of the first videos that I made, I used to use the 4411 religiously. The reason why I liked it is I always liked the 4231. Now, truthfully speaking, when I give the 4231 out, it's a bit better because you have the CDMs. Defensively, it's more stable. But if you've been watching me for a very long time, you would know with the 4231, what I do with the striker is I put that player on stay forward. So it basically acts like a 4411. That was the whole idea why I put stay forward on the cam, because it kind of promotes that play of the 4411, but you have the two CDMs for stability. Now, if there was a formation where you had the 4411 with CDMs, it would be perfect. But there isn't. Maybe you could argue the 4231. But the reason why this center forward is really, really important, or a cam, there's two different variations I'll explain to you in a second, is that it's a bit more forward than a traditional cam. I really, really like it because sometimes you find yourself in a formation like the 4231. That player is very much isolated. So that is why I like that 4411 system where you got the striker just by. I kind of used to think the only reason why I started at the beginning when I was a kid is because I liked Arsenal, the way we used to play. And you could technically argue with Bergkamp being behind Henry. We used to have that kind of structural shape. When we're attacking, maybe you can argue Vieira's a bit forward and stuff like that. Different shape, but I really, really liked it. So they're all very, very similar. The 4-2-3-1 and the 4-4-1-1 plays very similar. The left mid and right mid is what's really, really important. What I do like is I like the traditional 4-4-1-1, and that's because this player is a centre forward. They're positioned a bit more forward. It's basically like a 4-2-3-1 here, because think about it. You got the two centre mids or CDMs. You got the wide players, and you got the central player, and you got the striker. So I would say if you do like the 4-2-3-1, instead of jumping to this formation, I'll strongly recommend you trying the 4-2-3-1, of course, if you know it, then going to this one, because you still have that cam kind of play. And that cam play is kind of important because you want to put instructions like free roam. You can't do that with the centre forward or striker. So if you want the closest thing to a 4-2-3-1, but you find the centre mid sitting a bit too back, but you want the more attacking, then this is the formation to go with. If you want the one which is even more attacking with the centre forward type role, this is the one. I'm going to go through the tactics and instructions that I would want to use as well. We're going to start with the instructions first, because you could argue it's more important this way for the instructions. So I've always got stay central, get in behind and stay forward. I know some players like to basically tinker. They like to tinker with the striker depending on what they want. They put drift wide, balanced. I would always want the central striker to always be there in the middle. That's just me personally. I'd always want my best player to be in the middle. Now the striker behind is when you can kind of play around with. So that one you can put drift wide, you can put them on balanced. You can argue you lose that link-up play in the middle, because let's say you have the ball with your centre mids. If this player is out of position, let's just say hypothetically speaking, you lose the link-up play to the striker. So that is why some people prefer to do the free roam, or not the free roam rather, this player on like balance, but I prefer stay central, stay forward, get it behind. I want the main guy to be there. The cam, I'll be honest, leave him on stay forward, leave him on get it behind, but leave the support runs on balance. Let him decide, let him or her decide where they want to go. You know, sometimes, for example, if your Smith is brought inside, that player can go out to those wide areas if you force those players to go there. So leave them on balanced. If you find that you want that link-up player, you can leave them on balanced over here. I prefer them to get in behind because I want those two strikers to go forward. And that is why, compared to that's why in a 4-2-3-1, you've always seen me, I always say to you, use long balls, because I want to replicate get it behind. Hopefully by now, if you watch my videos for a long time, you can kind of remember some of the things I've done before and understand why I use long ball is to emulate these style of things. I always like to look at a formation, try to think how can I do better of it. But I stay forward, get it behind, and stay central for the striker. Now for the left mid and right mid, I put them both on, come back in the fence, get into the box and get it behind. Same thing here. For both of them, come back in the fence, get into the box, and get in behind for both of them. You could, if you want to put, for example, stay wide. If you want to put free roam, maybe you put the striker and the left mid and the right mid. So you put all these players on free roam if you want to. Personally, I don't really like it. I don't even put them on cut inside. I have this really good belief that sometimes the game AI is dreadful, and you know that in terms of attacking AI. But the game is smart enough to know that if you have the ball with Madry and you're running for your right mid, the game is smart enough to know to push Smith on the inside. When you put cut inside, the only downside is that the player's always going to cut inside. So let's say you got the ball with Xavi, and let's say you're trying to go on the outside with Xavi because you want to create a 2v2 down the wing. Sometimes Smith might just ignore that completely and go internally. So that is the only downside of putting cut inside. That is why I leave them on balance. You'd only really want to put cut inside in this system here if you really know or the type of style you want to play with, where you know you're always going to cut inside. Otherwise, don't. I wouldn't recommend it. For the centre mids, I put them on both on stay back, cover center. Obviously, the notable difference between this, for example, and we go, for example, to the 4-2-3-1 is you don't have those CDMs. So for protection, this is why I would say more top tip. If you've been looking at the contrasting opinions, people saying, oh, the formation is not good. It's actually very, very good. But the thing is that most players here, they are used to a CDM that sits naturally deeper, that gives you defensive stability when you're on the counter attack. So put them both on stay back while attacking and cover center. Now there's no drop between defenders or the ability to create the movement in the midfield where they create space. You don't have that. For example, like if I show you, like if I go to like a 3-5-2 1 second, you see, for example, like here, you could do deep line playmaker. You can't do that because they are not CDMs, unfortunately. I wish you could. That would be really cool, but you can't. So cover center and stay back. I would say for those that really want to take this formation to another level, always put this play on balanced. I have to be careful when I say this because whenever I release a formation out, if I put this on stay forward, get forward, or balanced, people, they copy the tactics, they always complain. So I have to make it clear, I have to always do it on the other side. So make it a bit more conservative, and if you want to make it attacking, you can always adjust this yourself. You would know this yourself, remember. You would know if you want the extra attack. I would recommend it. I think it's the best way to go with it. And left back, right back, I always put stay back and overlap. Stay back and overlap. You don't have to put conservative interceptions here because you got the left mid and right mid on comeback and offense. If you want to make this more attacking, you can always put these players on balanced. And one thing you can do, a bit of a madness, and I'll be honest, I don't really play with it that much. You could technically put this player here on free roam. So you leave them on get it behind. Put this player here also, well, you can't really do free roam. You can use the 4-2-3-1 variation, but you could put this player on balance, whatever. This player, you can put them on free roam and put these two centre mids on free roam. To be honest, I've not really used it. I've not really tried it, so I can't comment per se, but someone said that worked well. But I've not commented. I don't really like free roam that much because in order for this to work, you need both your centre mids to go forward and then they rotate positions. I don't really want them to rotate. It's not like real life where you have like, if you have, for example, one right winger, maybe you find that that player is a bit weaker, you can switch them in game. It doesn't really work like that. If I want my right foot on that side, or I want my best player, my cam in the middle, I never want my cam. If I have like a Lionel Messi here, I never want Messi to drift out wide inside the game. I'd want him in the middle so I can use technical sprint or whatever I need to do with a finesse shot. And that's why I got Correa there. And that will be their instructions. So you're pretty much universal. But again, if you just want to be just simple, stay forward, get it behind, as I mentioned, come back in defense, get into the box for a cross, left mid, right mid, and both centre mids on both stay back, cover centre. Now for the tactics, very similar to a 4-4-2. You can actually press very high with this. It actually works very, very well. It's similar to a 4-4-2. So if you like the 4-4-2 anyway, it's basically the same system. The only difference is one striker is going to be behind the other one. From a pressing perspective, you lose your strength because the benefit of having two strikers here is that when you have your opponent, let's say they have the goalkeeper here and they got the four centre backs, or four defenders, should I say rather, two centre backs and left back and right back, you got a 4v4. Unfortunately, now you're not going to have a 4v4. You're going to have basically something like this. So it'll be the similar system here, but you'd have, for example, just one striker there, one striker there, one striker there. So it'll be pressing like in a 4-2-3-1. So you're not going to be able to quickly switch between your two strikers to pin both your opponent's centre backs. You're not going to have that ability compared to the 4-4-2. That is the real weakness. So you can, if you want to, just press your team a bit higher. The width is fine. You can go anywhere between 39 and 45. Any of that region is fine. The depth, you can move this all the way up to 60. You can even go beyond that, but I think 60 is a good balance. Don't forget, for your defensive width, you are defending in a 4-4-2. It's quite a wide formation naturally. Don't make this too wide. And I said, because you lose the two strikers, they're like this. They're not basically like this. They're like this. It lose the pressing ability, in my opinion. It's like if you ever use constant pressure on a 4-2-3-1, it will play similar to that. Think of this like a 4-2-3-1. That's where I can advise. You don't have to use long ball here. The benefit of this compared to the 4-2-3-1 cams is you got the options to put get in behind and chance creation. So in fact, you don't need to use long ball. Long ball will only really influence here realistically to centre mids because you can put them on cover centre. So in fact, this would be the best time to use something else. You could use slow build-up play, but I think balance works quite well. If you know how to use L1 triggers, slow build-up play with the rest of players on getting behind creates a good equilibrium between you being slow, but players also making runs, and players around you, like the centre mids that are not going forward, will come close, and you can always supplement that with the R1 button. Another top tip for some of you top tier players that really want to take the formation to the next level. I think forward runs is the best, personally speaking, on any formation, whether that's a 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1. Some formations like the 4-3-2-1, I do prefer direct passing. I don't care what the masses thinks. I like forward runs. It's more attacking for me. And people always say, "Oh, how can it be good if pros don't use it?" But pros do use forward runs. Just that every formation video you see is direct passing, hence why you think forward runs is not good. But if you've been watching my videos since FIFA 19, since they changed tactics, the system, I've always been using forward runs. And I think it has its case. Certain formations like the 4-3-2-1 or certain ways I like to play the 4-4-2, I prefer direct passing. The width, you can bring this down to about 55. Don't forget you're quite a wide formation anyway, naturally. So you don't want to make this too high. I think this is a good balance because you're wide enough to occupy most of the pitch, but at least your left mid and right mids are kind of like in line with your opponent's left back and right back. Of course, that will depend on what depth they are playing and what width they are playing. But you pretty much have that ability to cut inside, and you can always trigger the fullbacks if you want to. And then players in the box, you can put this however you want to. I think 5-6 is a good balance. If you really want to take this formation to the next level, what you could do is put these players on balanced, okay? And then put these players on cut inside. And then reduce the width. This is another version of it. Reduce the width to 1. I actually really like this, and I'll explain to you why. What happens when you use this formation is you're forcing both the left mid and right mid to always cut inside. Because we've got a narrow width, the team are going to be compact in attack. Defensively, no, they're not going to change. Remember, that's the defensive width. This is the attacking width. They're going to be compact. They're going to be narrow, and the left mid and right mid, they're going to always cut inside. With your left back and right back on balance, they're going to go over the wingers and they're going to provide a width. So when I said to you how earlier a cut inside always forces players inwards, this way you could have more players inside the midfield. In fact, you could probably even put these players on balanced. You don't even have to even put them on getting behind. You can even put free roam if you want to, but I would always put kind of getting behind. I just prefer them. But this way, you kind of congest the middle areas. You have the left back and right back helping you on the corridors of the pitch. And I think that's probably one of the best ways. You have the width down the wings and you have these players unbalanced, and you can always supplement that. So you'll have a lot of attacking force. Of course, that means defensively you're going to be in trouble. You're going to have 2 players at the back and 2 centre mids. No drop between defenders can work on this formation. But that's another way you can play it, and it works very, very well. I actually really like this formation. To be completely honest, just because the 4-3-2-1 is so dominant, I've not really used it since. And because of how the 4-2-3-1 plays with the 2 CDMs, that defensive ability, I much prefer the 4-2-3-1. I still think it's a good formation. It's more attacking than the 4-2-3-1. And that is why I think some of you may prefer it a lot more. But definitely a formation to try. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you want to get better at FC24, you can come to my Patreon series, patreon.com/NilGuides. If you don't get better after 1 month, we'll refund your money. That's a Nil Guides guarantee. That is how sure we are that you will improve. Got my tongue twisted there. But also, I wanted to say as well, actually starting FC25 videos early. One of the videos that we should be coming out by the time this video is out is how to hold the controller, how to hold it effectively, how I hold it, and also which goes over the DualSense Edge. I can't even speak anymore. I'll be speaking that long. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take it easy. Of course, to catch you next time. Peace out.